Brock and I were raised with so many of the same values, like you work hard for what you want in life, that your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're going to do.
My parents impressed on me the values that you work hard for what you want in life, that your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
That you treat people with dignity and respect, even if you don't know them and even if you don't agree with them.
That you treat people with respect. They taught and showed me values and morals in their daily life. That is a lesson that I continue to pass along to our son. And we need to pass those lessons on to the many generations to follow.
And Barack and I set out to build lives guided by these values and to pass them on to the next generation, because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievements is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
Have your instructors had the talk with you about plagiarism? About how it is wrong and you shouldn't do it? You may have questions. What is it exactly? And how will you know if you're committing plagiarism or not? This video will help answer these questions. What is plagiarism? What are some common types of plagiarism? How can I avoid plagiarism? Plagiarism is the act of taking another person's work and using it as your own. This includes using the words or ideas of another person as if they were your own words or ideas. Can words and ideas really be stolen? Yes, because words and ideas are intellectual property. And just like a writer, artist, or inventor, the original author stands to benefit from his creation. So how are you supposed to do research if using other people's words or ideas is stealing? No worries. As long as you give the original author credit for his or her work, you are not plagiarizing. The way you give an author credit is by using citations. You must cite anything you quote, paraphrase, summarize, or refer to in your paper. When you quote a passage, word for word, you must use quotation marks around the phrases that are not your own. You must also provide the author's name, the year, and the page number. There are multiple ways to incorporate this information in the quote, using signal phrases such as according to or the author notes that can help you transition from quotes to your own words easily. What if you rewrite the author's passage in your own words? You might make some changes or completely rewrite it. Even though it is written in your words, it is still the author's idea, and you must give them credit. If you are having trouble with paraphrasing, read the passage you want to use, then try to write the ideas in your own words without looking at the passage. Compare what you wrote to the original source to make sure you change the wording and grammar enough. Any words or phrases that you didn't change should be marked with quotation marks. Be careful as you write. Even if you accidentally use someone else's work, it is still considered plagiarism, and the consequences can be severe.
What is plagiarism anyway? You've probably heard a lot about plagiarism as a student, so what is it? According to Webster's definition, to plagiarize is to steal and pass off the ideas or words of another as one's own, to use another production without crediting the source. Sounds pretty serious when we say that plagiarizing is stealing, as if it's criminal. But plagiarism can carry some serious consequences in school. Each school has its own plagiarism policy or academic honesty policy, but students who plagiarize may get reported to school officials, get an F on the assignment or in the course, and in some cases even expelled from the school. Given these consequences, let's take a look at some sample papers to see what plagiarism really is and how it looks in student writing. We've tagged 10 types of plagiarism to look at more closely. This paper is the clone and represents a highly problematic form of plagiarism. It is a word-for-word copy of text from the original with no quotation marks and no citations. This is clearly plagiarism. In the Control-C paper, the student has attempted to disguise the direct copy and paste by adding in a few original words. This too represents a highly problematic form of plagiarism. The student has deliberately attempted to use the material and then throw off the instructor with a few words here and there. The find and replace looks like the Control-C, but in this case the student intent becomes a question. Did this student intentionally change the words and phrases, or does the student simply not know how to paraphrase a text or put it into his or her own words? Regardless of student intent, it still is plagiarism. The remix has some further problems with paraphrasing, but this time from various sources. Often this is what students think of when they think of research, pulling sources together into a new whole. But research is quite different and requires good paraphrasing skills. The recycle is a type of plagiarism that many students don't even recognize as a problem. Students typically cannot and should not reuse large portions of a text from another paper they have written. That means students can't recycle papers from class to class. School policies about this differ, so you need to check what your school policy is. One way to avoid this is, as a writer, you can cite your original writing, even if it is unpublished. The hybrid represents a student who has made the paper look like an ethically and accurately written paper, but the student cuts and pastes material from other sources as well. This typically represents intentional plagiarism. Like the remix, the mashup is nothing but a constant stream of outside material with little to no original writing to link the outside sources together. This also represents what a lot of students think of when they think of research, and it's just not the case. The 404 error is an example of plagiarism that tries to throw the instructor off by citing sources inaccurately. Usually, students attempt this when they don't know how to cite sources. You can't be apathetic here. Citing sources takes time and attention to the details. The aggregator has sources cited, but the original writing is not balanced with the sources. In this case, the student has allowed the research to drive the paper's development, rather than use the research to support his or her own writing. The last type of plagiarism is the retweet. In this case, the student knows that he or she needs to cite sources and attempts to paraphrase, but the paraphrase relies too heavily on the original text. Paraphrasing is a skill that takes practice. You can see key ways to avoid plagiarism after reviewing these 10 types. Understand how to paraphrase a text, how to document or cite a source, and how to research so the paper contains original content.